he apparently cheated on my mother with another woman in Indian River, and she was pregnant when she found out about it.
I live with Kaylee Booth, and that is it. And I have two dogs.
How many bedrooms there? 1.5 bedrooms?
Oh, one, and then 1.5 bathrooms. I thought you said bathrooms. I apologize.
So are there any other children there, or would it just be your child in this case that would be there?
Yeah, right. So I have court on the 15th for my other child. So it would be Serena as well. But that, again.
Are you and Miss Booth together, or is she a friend?
We're together.
Right. And if you move to Indian River, is she moving with you?
We have not discussed that yet, Your Honor.
And do you know if you move to Indian River, is that a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, or do you know?
It's a 2-bedroom.
What do you do for employment, sir?
I work at the Elbow Inn part-time.
Okay. How many hours roughly?
But I will not be working. I will not be working there if I move to Indian River. It's too far of a drive.
All right. How many hours are you working?
Anywhere from 28 to 35.
And if you move to Indian River, what's the plan for employment?
I went out previously. I worked for Mole Aerospace, and they said that if I wanted to reapply, that they would take me back. So I'm going to reapply.
Okay. Is there anything else you want me to know, sir?
No, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Peel, do you have any questions for Mr. Rohr while he's at this time?
Not that I know of at this moment, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Rohr, did you have any other witnesses you wanted to call?
Witnesses? No, sir.
Right. All right.
I met Noah in August of 2018 at McDonald's. He and I became in a relationship around October of 2018. I found out I was pregnant with Angel December 24th, 2018. When I met Noah, he told me that he was born a crack baby and was adopted at the age of 7. Before he was adopted, he was sexually abused by foster parents and uncle. His adoptive parents had put him in Newberry Hospital at the age of 12 when he physically and sexually abused his adoptive brother. They kicked him out of the home when he was 14. He stated he had severe depression, bipolar, stomach cancer, and had broken his back in a skiing accident. During my pregnancy, I was constantly depressed since he kept telling me everything was my fault. I found out that he was cheating on me, was very manipulative, and keeping me under his thumb. After Angel was born, he barely bathed her, changed her clothes, or diapered her since he believed that because she was a girl, he should not be handling her private parts. I did most of the bathing, clothing, and loving on Angel. The manipulation and arguing continued until Angel was about 5 months old when we got into an altercation due to him getting another woman pregnant, and CPS became involved. Angel was put into foster care until November 3rd, 2021, when we got her back full time. Noah has 5 children, as well as Angel. He has not supported any of his children, nor had any contact with them. He is unable to hold a job, has not lived in a stable situation other than living with my grandmother on and off for 4 years. In April 2022, about a week after we moved into a new home with my grandmother, I found out that he was having an affair with my mother, who was also living with us. My mother was on probation at the time and was living with all of us. She was told by CPS that since she was a felon, that she should not be around Angel without parental supervision. However, Angel would leave Angel with her most of the time during his parenting time. Around September 2022, I moved out of my grandmother's home and got an apartment for myself and Angel with my own funding. Around October 10th, 2022, Noah and my grandmother had an altercation in which he grabbed her and she slapped him. My grandmother told him to get out of the house. He moved out on January 1st, 2023, along with my mother. They are still together at this time. I have many conversations with one of Noah's underage girls with whom he had sexual relations with. Amaya Sherman, was 14 years old when he started having intimate relations with her. I have had approximately 4 over-the-phone conversations with her, as well as the texts and photos from evidence that I have tried to put in today, showing that before she was 18, she was driving my grandmother's car without permission and staying at my grandmother's and babysitting for Noah while he went out to have sex with other women. Has told me that she is having the police investigating Noah, and the Detroit police has contacted me for information about Noah in March or April of this year. I was also involved in the relationship with Bronwyn as she lived with Noah and I for a few months before she became pregnant with Noah's son. Around December 2022, he apparently cheated on my mother with another woman in Indian River, and she was pregnant when she found out about it. She left him for a while, but is back with him. The girl in Indian River has a baby girl, I believe. After moving out of my grandmother's house in January, he took his RV and placed it in the back of her home and lived there for about 6 weeks before she kicked him out. I found out from Amaya that Noah has told her that he has another woman, unknown, who is currently 6 months pregnant with his child. In February 2023, Noah and my mother temporarily moved in with me at my apartment, stating that they had nowhere else to go. 2 weeks later, an altercation occurred with the CPS being involved. Noah was trying to take Angel away with no place to go. There was a report made as to what occurred. Since March 3rd, 2023, Noah has not seen his child because of the altercation. The police told him not to see Angel. She has been having nightmares that her dad is going to choke her and take her away. She does not even want to talk to him. I am in the process of obtaining a psychiatrist who deals with childhood trauma. That is all, Your Honor.
Ma'am, what is your mom's name?
Kaylee Booth,
All right, so that's the individual he's residing with. Okay, thank you. All right, and where do you live?
I live in Gaylord at 500 West North Street, apartment 108.
All right. And how many bedrooms are in that apartment?
2.
And who else lives with you?
Anthony Contreras.
And Angel has her own room, or what's the bedroom
Yes.
situation?
She has her own room, and me and him share a room.
And what's your plan moving forward? Do you intend to remain in that apartment, or are you planning on moving soon?
I plan to remain in this apartment for a while.
And what is your source of income?
I currently work at Metal Lodge. I'm finishing up classes to be CNA at Metal Lodge.
Okay. How many hours roughly do you work a week?
Anywhere from 38 to 42, if not more.
And when do you intend to have your CNA completed?
It's in this month.
And what do you do for childcare for Angel when you're working?
Currently, my boyfriend is watching her while I'm at work.
And it's your testimony that Noah hasn't seen Angel since March, is that correct?
Yes.
And you mentioned that CPS said he's not, is that correct?
Your Honor, I couldn't hear you.
Did you say CPS told you not to let Noah see her?
Police said that CPS had said not to contact him whatsoever.
Vice versa for me. Your
Hold on,
Honor.
sir. You'll get your chance again. So is there an open CPS investigation at this time, or was one not opened?
There is one currently at this time.
And what's the status with that?
It should be around 2 more months and then it should be over.
All right, well, what are they doing? Are they requiring you to do certain things? Are they requiring him to do certain things, or do you not know?
They're requiring you to finish classes, keep the stable home, call WIC, and the licensing, and just keep doing what I'm doing and going forward.
All right. You said there was an incident at the house. What incident can mean a lot of things. So was there anything physical? What
There-
happened?
There was physical on his part. I had told him no to ordering pizza because I had to pay for billing, and he had started an argument. So I had gone over to my friend's house and took Angel with me to calm down for the night. And I told him to leave my residence. And then he came by 15, 25 minutes later and started knocking on the door, which I had tried to ignore, like the police had said. And then he just said that he wanted her to say goodnight to Angel, which I said he could say goodnight through the peak of the door because I had felt he was going to do something. And she pulled the door open a little further, and he tried running off with her into my apartment, and she freaked out. And then when I had her tried to have her come to me multiple times, he kept whipping her backwards and hit her head on the wall, and also ended up leaving bruises on her rib cage, a scratch on her collarbone, a bruise on her head, scratch on her hip. And this altercation lasted about 11 minutes.
Were the police called or not?
Yes, they were called. They were there within 5 minutes.
And which agency was that?
I
City.
believe the sheriff's department.
No, city.
And was anybody arrested or not?
No,
And so then there was CPS involvement after that, is that correct?
yes.
All right, anything else you want me to know, ma'am?
Not that I know of at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Warren, this is your chance then to ask questions of Ms. Peel.
Well, first of all, do you have any police report of alleged abuse and or that you've submitted to the court today?
I have photos.
Did you submit those to the court today?
I am not aware of whether they went through or not.
Okay. How do you plan to get Angel to and from appointments without a driver's license or licensed driver or insurance? Because I know the car that you've been using is not insured.
It is currently insured. And I plan also this month to get everything settled.
What is your plan of action when your fibromyalgia flares up?
I am currently in remission. I have not had any flare-ups. I have been
Well,
doing well.
I'm happy for you. Who watches Angel while you're at work? I believe that was already answered, so you don't have to answer that. How do you plan on meeting halfway for drop-off and pickups for visitation with no vehicle?
I will be getting a vehicle on my tax returns. And until then,
That's a year away.
there is willing to let me borrow the car.
Do you think it is within Angel's best interest to keep her away from her father?
She currently does not want to talk to you. I have asked her
That is not
multiple
her
times
choice.
if she wants you. I believe it is her choice.
That is not the question. Do you believe that it is within Angel's best interest to keep her away from her father?
Yes, I do at this point in time.
Can you please elaborate?
She is highly traumatized after that. She has well over 4 nightmares a night.
Do you think
About
that...
you,
Hold on, sir, you gotta let her finish.
Okay, I apologize.
about you choking her, about you stealing her, and she wakes up crying.
Okay, I understand that and I respect what you're saying, but that is not her decision and it is not your decision. It is, I am her father.
You gotta ask questions at this point, not
Okay. So my next question is, do you have any evidence to back up the accusations that you just presented to friend of court?
I do. And it's through the Detroit police as well.
That's it.
All right, so I did get apparently there was an email sent with some text messages. Is that what you sent, Ms. Peel?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All right, and so what are these text messages? Conversations you had with somebody else?
With Amaya, the one that was underage at 14 that had sexual relations and watched my daughter while he would go out.
Those then would be hearsay, her comments are hearsay if she's not here to testify. So I can't accept those text messages as evidence. I then see a few pictures. I'm not sure what each of these pictures show, so if you want to submit something as evidence, you've got to explain to me what the purpose of these pictures are and what they show.
These are photos that Amaya Sherman had taken while with Noah War.
All right.
Yes.
So if she took these photos and she's not here to verify their accuracy, I cannot admit those. So those will not be introduced as exhibits. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And Mr. War, you did not have any other questions for Ms. Peel, is that correct?
No, sir.
Did you have any rebuttal testimony you wanted to provide based on her testimony?
Yes, please.
All right, go ahead.
So the police report states that there was no child abuse whatsoever. And then Emily also threatened her mother, grabbed her by her arm, and that she was tugging at Angel while she was in my arms. Not that I ripped her from her. And she scratched her and me. I have scratches and pictures of that, and that should be on the police report that was filed, that Emily scratched me, and that it was an altercation between me and Anthony, I don't remember how to say his last name, not alleged abuse of Angel.
Does anyone have this report or not?
I do not have it, no.
And was CPS ever involved with you?
Yes, I'm the one who made the police report. I'm the one who called there because she said that I'm never going to see my kid again. That's when I filed the next morning for this court hearing.
Have you had any contact with CPS regarding that?
Yes, I've talked to Ann Sullivan, and I talked to Matt last week, Matt Lawrence, and he stated that the thing that I need to do is get parenting time, and then we will discuss further action, is his exact wording. So once I have parenting time is when the case starts.
All right. So do you understand there's not an open case at this point, or there's just kind of
there is an open case, but until me and her have actual custody established, then there's nothing that they can do on my end of things that I'm supposed to work on.
So once that's established, that there will be perhaps some type of requirements for you or some type of safety plan?
I'm sure, yes. I'm sure that I'm about 90% sure that's what he was saying.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to say?
No, sir. Wait, anything else do you think, sir?
All right. Ms. Peel, did you have anything additional?
I do at this time, Your Honor.
You don't? Okay. All right. So I'm going to take a short break, go through my notes regarding the testimony. I'll be back in probably 5 to 10 minutes, and I will make my recommendation at that time. Okay. So stay connected, and I'll be back in a few minutes. This is a custody matter filed by Mr. War. Therefore, there is no proper cause or change of circumstances that is necessary to be addressed since this is an initial custody matter. The court then has to determine if there is an established custodial environment with either one parent, both parents, or neither parent. Given the history in this matter, recent moves, recent changes of where the minor child is, including a period of time when the child was in foster care, I do not believe at this point that there is an established custodial environment with either parent. The next thing the court has to look at is the best interest factors. So I will review those on the record. The first factor is the love, affection, and emotional ties that exist between the parties involved and the child. I would find this factor is equal. I think both parents have love and affection with the minor child. The next factor is the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to give the child love, affection, and guidance. I would find this factor favors mom. Mom provided some testimony regarding her care for the child in her care, while Dad testified regarding times that he lived together as a family unit. He did not provide testimony as to the things that he did for the child or to care for the child, so I find that factor favors the mother. The next factor is the capacity and disposition of the parties involved to provide the child with food, clothing, and medical care. Mom testified regarding what she provides for the child, including medical care for the child. Dad did not really get into that testimony. He did testify he is working part-time. That may be changing here in the near future with a move. So as to this factor, I believe mom has a stronger capacity and disposition to provide those needs for the minor child. I would find that factor favors the mother. Next factor is the length of time the child has lived in a stable, satisfactory environment. Mom has been in her current environment since September. Dad has had a couple of moves since that time. I would find this factor favors the mother. The next factor is the permanence as a family unit of the existing or proposed custodial home or homes. Mom has testified that she intends to remain at her current residence. Dad is seeking residency potentially elsewhere. Not sure if that move is going to happen or not. There's certainly not stability and certainty regarding his residence moving forward. So I find that factor favors the mother. The next factor is the moral fitness of the parties involved. There have been certainly a lot of accusations and statements made regarding moral fitness in this matter, but really no hard introduced evidence regarding those issues. So given the lack of evidence, I'm going to find this factor is equal. The next factor is the mental and physical health of the parties involved. I don't think there is enough evidence provided here today to find that this factor favors one party or the other, so I'll find that this factor is equal. The next factor is the home, school, and community record of the child. The child in this matter is not 4 years old yet, does not really have a home, school, and community record established, especially given the time period when the child was in foster care, so therefore I find this factor is not applicable. The next factor is the reasonable preference of the child. If the child is of sufficient age to express a preference, the child in this matter, again, is not 4 years old yet. Therefore, the child is not of a sufficient age to have a in-camera interview conducted by me to express a preference. So that factor is not applicable. The next factor is the willingness and ability of the parties to facilitate and encourage a close and continuing parent-child relationship between the child and the other parent. Dad has testified regarding his concerns of mom withholding the child since an incident in March. Mom has testified regarding her reasoning for that. Don't believe there was any malicious intent, just concerns by mom. There were certainly no court orders that have been violated by either party, so I'm going to find that this factor is equal. Next factor is domestic violence. There's some testimony regarding an incident, but the testimony provided to the court did not rise to the level of domestic violence between the parties. And there's no other evidence of domestic violence by either party. So therefore, I find that factor is equal. When looking at the sum of the factors, I do believe there's the best interest factors do weigh in the favor of the defendant mother. When considering the custody arrangement, is this court's recommendation that the parties share joint legal custody, but that mom have the primary physical custody and that dad have parenting time every other weekend from Friday at 6 p.m. until Sunday at 6 p.m. Transportation will be based on the standard transportation guidelines in the 46th Circuit Court, which is the receiving parent picks the child up at the start of their parenting time. I will also recommend that the parties share holidays pursuant to the 46th Circuit Court holiday schedule, which will be provided to the parties. The parties do have a right to object to this recommendation within 21 days. That information will be provided with the written order that is sent to you. I'll also recommend that a child support recommendation be prepared based on the court's recommended order. If the parties have not complied with the financial information, they need to do so within 21 days and provide that information in front of the court so a child support recommendation can be prepared. Ms. Peel, do you have any questions regarding the court's recommended order?
I do not at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Ward, do you have any questions?
When does this start?
Well, that's part of that is up to the parties to start that. If a party is going to object.
Can I have it ordered where I get to see her for Father's Day this weekend?
That is one of the standard holidays, but I'll have to ask Ms. Peel. Ms. Peel, do you intend to object to the court's order or do you intend to follow the court's recommended order?
I intend to follow, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have any issue with his weekends starting this weekend?
I have a question about that. From Friday to the coming Sunday, weekly or?
No, it's just Friday night to Sunday night, every other weekend.
Okay,
So this pairing time would start this Friday at 6 and then end Sunday the 6th, which is Father's Day. So that would give him his Father's Day too. Can we start this weekend?
yes, we can, Your Honor.
Is there
Alright, so
any,
also-
is there a specific location that she would like to meet at?
Well, typically you go to the person's residence unless the parties agree otherwise.
So I have signed a CPS document that states that I'm not allowed on her property.
Okay, all right. So the next way to do that then is to likely meet at a local police station, or the parties can choose to meet somewhere else.
Okay, so can she reach out to me, or what, is that between me and her that we need to work out that, or is there any order that you can put in place where we meet like the state police post in Gaylord or whatever?
You can certainly say all exchanges take place at the state police post if you want that, sir.
But yes, please.
All right, Ms. Peel, do you have any issue with that?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
All right, so I'll change that and say that all exchanges to take place at the Michigan State Police Post in Gaylord. Any additional questions?
No, sir.
All right, that does conclude this matter. Thank you both for appearing. You may sign off.
It looks like you were running minimum wage though for the support